Good morning, guys. I'm in Dubai. It is the start of week 2 today, and I thought I would take you right back to before the start of the holiday. We had dropped the dog off with the dog walker. Actually, he came and picked him up, and then I was just kind of doing my last bits of packing. It was a 5 p.m. flight that we were getting from Aberdeen, which is different to us because you know what it's like when you go on holiday. It's normally like super early, so you're like rushing around, but it just was really nice. The dog walker picked Bertie up at like 11:45-ish, and within half an hour he'd messaged to say that Bertie wasn't coming back to him, and he seemed a bit spooked, and was there any like special way that I had of getting him back? And I said, oh, are you using a whistle? Because he's whistle trained, like his recall to a whistle is brilliant. And then he said, no, he's not coming back. I keep losing sight of him. And I said, give him like a firm stop. And because sometimes, you know, if he gets like on the scent of something. And then I was like texting him back and forth, and he was like, oh, I'm trying to keep sight of him. And then I was like, it was really stressing me out. I wanted to like be there, but I knew like we only had 40 minutes until we needed to be leaving to go to the airport. And then, so I phoned and I said, oh, please can you tell me your location? Because I've got 40 minutes and I want to come and help. Like, I'm never going to be able to get on that flight unless I know that he's safe. So he gave me his location, and it was in woods that Bertie had never been in before. So then that made me panic a wee bit, but my mum knows the woods that they were in. So then I phoned my mum and I was like, Bertie's lost, but he's in the woods that you know. And she was like, right, I'm in Tesco, you go and I'll meet you there. So I went, and by the time I got there, I realised just how ginormous these woods are, and that the dog walker, there was no sight of Bertie anymore. He like didn't have an eye on him, so he was gone. 4 hours later, we're still traipsing through these woods. Loads of my pals had joined in now. I had like my pals' husbands running everywhere, my mum and dad, me. Lee was with the girls but doing his best, another pal's husband, the dog walker and his wife. Was that all of us? There was loads of us. There was loads of us looking in the woods. And then yeah, the woods were huge, like huge. So we were trying to like do it in a manner so we were all covering like different areas and like meeting back to one point to like flush him to us kind of thing. But no one had seen him, no sightings of him. And then I posted on Facebook and said that I'd lost him. I needed to get a drone team. And then someone about 2-3 hours later commented that he was running along the South Deeside Road. Now, if you're not local, the South Deeside Road, there's 2 roads that run to Aberdeen from where I live, the North Deeside and the South Deeside. And the South Deeside is where the cars drive really fast. The North Deeside is where it's slower because it's slow traffic lights, that kind of thing. So as soon as someone said that, I was like, oh my God, he's going to get run over. I'm like, that's it, I'm never going to see him again. So I left where I was and went straight to the South Deeside Road, and someone said they'd seen him like run into like a property on the river side of the road. And by the time I got there, because I was like 4 miles deep into the woods, so it took me a while to get out. And by the time I got there, I was like covered in mud and cow poo and just disgusting in my airport outfit. And yeah, by this point, I'd said to Lee, you go, there's no point us both missing the flight. So he'd left with the girls. The girls were absolutely distraught because they were going on holiday without me and they wanted me to come. But and loads of people, like my family, were like, you go, we'll help find him. But I couldn't do that. Yeah, so by the time I got to this like river entry where someone had seen him, my parents were already there. But there was like a fisherman's gate. My dad was like, I'm going to go the other end in case he's further along the South Deeside Road. Go through that fisherman's gate in the car, and I'll meet you at the other end. Just drive the full length of it. But I couldn't get through because the fisherman's gate had a padlock on. So I was going to get back in the car and continue and meet my dad. And I thought, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to see if I can see him, like walk a little bit along this fisherman's track. And I climbed over the gate, and there he was, sat looking longingly across the river like, where's my family? And he'd been groomed, ready to go to the dog walker, and he was absolutely black. And then as soon as I saw him, I was like, I didn't want to like scare him off, because the dog trapping team that I'd been on the phone to said that they go into like total flight mode, don't respond to their name, don't respond to recall, don't even want to come to their owners. They just like run and run and run and run when they've had that big a fright. But anyway, I was like, Birdie, come on then. And as soon as he heard my voice, he just like ran over to me and like laid on his back and was like crying, and oh, it was so traumatic. And then by that point, Lee was already in Aberdeen. He'd checked in at the flight, so I knew I didn't have time to spend like hugging my dog and fussing over him. So I quickly like gave him some quick love, chucked him in the boot, and then phoned my dad, and I was like, you need to get me to the airport, I've got the dog. So I had to drive home, and I was like, just drive my car. But obviously he couldn't, because I didn't have a Tesla car key and it's on your phone, so he wouldn't have been able to then get home from the airport. So thank God we realised that before he took my car. So we went home, dropped off the dog. My mum came to mine to sort the dog. I managed to quickly change my trousers and my socks because they were soaking wet, really muddy, covered in cow poo. And then my dad came and picked me up and then literally whizzed me to the airport. The BA flight desks had been told of the situation, and then Lee said the women were so nice, and they were like, if she gets here before the flight leaves, we will get her on it. Like, even though obviously check-in was well closed. They closed the check-in. No, they closed, not the check-in. The check-in was closed hours ago, but they actually closed access to the flight at 4:15. And I got there at 4:45 and they let me on, and I literally got through security. The security guys were so lovely, and they were like, breathe, breathe, they haven't done last call, you're fine, like, you're gonna make it on the flight. Walked through, and then had like 3 minutes before they started boarding the plane. So that was how the holiday started, and I was like shaking, stressed, filthy, sweaty. My hair, I'd curled it in the morning, and you know what I'm like with like humidity, and it was like damp and warm, so my hair was like out here, and I've never felt so unready for a flight if I tried. And that was how Saturday, the first day of the, well, technically the first day of the holiday, that was how it started. It was very, 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 very stressful. I was so grateful for all my friends like helping to find him, but yeah, so Mum took him that night because he was like a bit out of sorts. And then the next day, the dog walker and his wife came and picked him up from my mum, and it was totally fine. And I was like, just keep on the lead, do not let him off the lead. So I have no idea what was going on there, if something spooked him, or if he was on the scent of something, or if he was just a bit like, I don't know, going straight from our house to with the dog walker to on a walk, and I don't know. I just don't know. So that was the start. Wild. I put up some videos on TikTok if you want to go and watch them, of me like filming it in real time, because, you know, once a content creator, always a content creator.
Didn't actually realise until I got up to the Sky Observatory how terrified of heights I am. I'm fine when I'm like looking out the window at this view. Looking out of here is absolutely fine, doesn't bother me at all. But attempting to do that glass walkway is just terrifying. There's, oh sorry, that's my finger. There's the Burj Khalifa, looking beautiful as ever. Dubai Mall, and then this is where the fountain show is on a night.
Get past it.
It's too close! Kite Beach, and it is beautiful. We didn't make it here last time. Woo! The food trucks everywhere.
sort of a little recap of week 1. We started the week off fairly slowly with lots of beach days. It was really nice. We went to the glass slide. You didn't actually see the slide on here, but I did put up videos of it on TikTok and Instagram, and it's basically a fully glass slide. It's not very big. It's also expensive, as everything is here, but it's 220, just about 220 meters high on the outside of a building. So you go up in this like glass elevator, which in itself is scary, and then you've got a ticket to go down the glass slide, and then there's like a glass walkway all around the like outside. It's inside, but it's like the edge of the building where you can see there's nothing below it, and you can see all the way down to like the motorway and the roads down below, and it's terrifying. So scary. So we did that, and then after that we went over to Dubai Mall, which is just ginormous. We did Dubai Mall last time to see like the fountain show. We weren't bothered about doing it again because it's so vast. We're not here to shop. Everything's far too expensive anyway. But we thought, oh, whilst we're here, we'd be as well head over and get some shade. So we went in there, and we were like, yeah, we're done. We don't need to come back. We didn't even stay to see the fountain show. We saw it lots last year, so we just went in there for a bit and had an ice cream. We mooch. Took us like an hour to find our way out. And then we came home. We've done Top Golf, which I haven't put any footage in here of the Top Golf, but that was so fun. You're up really high, just batting golf balls. And what else have we done? We've hung out with some friends at their pool. Good morning. Did you just fall into the room? That's a way to make an entrance. You okay? I'm trying to. What else have we done? We've done the glass slide. I haven't got to that point yet. The glass slide, Top Golf, hung out with friends. What else have we done?
Hang out at the beach.
Hang out at the beach. What other activities? I feel like we've done. Oh, the Miracle Garden. We did the Miracle Garden, which is.
Sleepover.
Yeah, Sophia had a sleepover at our friends that live out here. So you didn't come to the Miracle Garden, did you? We went without you. It was good. It was a bit kind of, like, I wouldn't do it again. It was nice, but I mean, once you've seen one flower, you've kind of seen them all. We did that the day of the glass slide, I think, didn't we? In the morning. Last night we went to La Perla, which is a bit like Cirque du Soleil. I didn't love it. Like,
It was confusing.
I didn't think it was confusing. I just thought it was like a bit average. Like, it's meant to be amazing and like super immersive and mind-blowing, and I just felt like it was good and I enjoyed it. I definitely wouldn't do it again. And we were going to buy the gold tickets, which were extortionate, and all I was thinking the whole time we were watching it was, thank God we didn't buy the gold tickets. So the ones we bought were still expensive, but slightly less. After we'd finished, and we went out for dinner with friends before that, and we all went together. And then at the end, when we were standing waiting for a taxi, Sophia, who is actually already a bit of a fainter, said those classic 3 words, I feel dizzy, and then just hit the deck. Thank God I was standing next to her to like cushion her fall. And it was literally just as we were stepping foot into the Uber, she collapsed. But you're feeling fine today, aren't you? You recovered. Everybody was like rushing around, like giving her Tic Tacs and ice cold water, and we managed to bundle her in the taxi and head straight home, and you recovered. But it was a bit scary. Yeah. And of course Poppy was absolutely hysterical. She's like, she's gonna die. Wasn't she?
Yeah.
So we then actually had to spend more time consoling Poppy than you. Kind of sums up our life. And today I think we're having a beach day. The things left on our list are, Lee and the kids are doing the inflatable sea course thing today. But this week I'm going to film more of what we actually get up to. I feel like I've been doing loads of bits for Instagram and TikTok, but this week I'm going to do loads for YouTube. So you'll see all of that in next week's video. But I hope you enjoyed that little debrief, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.